Thank you, most welcome.
Can you briefly, provide some historical context on Malawi's political landscape for us? Briefly, please.
Currently, Malawi is approaching a very crucial general election on 16 September this year, 2025. And already the political temperature is getting heated up, with now a rise in the wave of protests across all the major cities of Malawi. We saw last week when business persons who sell small-scale business persons called vendors rising up to protest the current surge, the current rise in prices of goods and services. In fact, as we speak, the political economic environment in Malawi is such that the cost of living is rising astronomically. Inflation is hitting the roof over 30%. And at the same time, government of Malawi is squeezed in terms of public expenditures with a rising domestic, with a rising public debt over 80%, and many other parameters, such that right now there is a wave of discontent, like I said earlier on, over the current leadership of President Lazarus Chakwera.
Okay, now, Mavuto, do you see any disconnect between the current government's initiatives and also the expectations of the Malawian electorate?
Yes, indeed. There has been a lot of promises which the leadership of President Chakwera made in the run-up to the 2020 election, in becoming president. Of course, in an alliance called the Tonse Alliance, which is broken today. And then specifically in terms of the connections, the connectedness, or the disconnect between the current leadership of President Chakwera and the people is such that it is the economy which is providing the broken links. So the current administration promised a lot of things, promised to create 1 million jobs, promised to stabilize the economy, promised to make sure that prices are not escalating, things which are not happening at the moment. And on top of that, there is a food crisis that continues to grip Malawi, with a bag of maize selling. Now maize is a staple food for Malawi. A bag of maize of 50 kilograms selling at a very exorbitant price. So when one aggregates all these factors, the conclusion really is that there is a continued wave of discontent as well as disconnect between the way government is operating and the wishes as well as the expectations of the people. And this happening when Malawi is approaching 16 September elections should be a matter of concern to the leadership of President Chakwera. And we saw last week, a couple of days ago, when the president was delivering the State of the Nation address in Parliament, a number of projects which were highlighted are things which could not be verified on the ground. Projects like construction of school blocks, construction of police houses, some of which were taken as lies. In fact, the opposition in Parliament categorized the State of the Nation address as a catalogue of lies. And then we have seen the President Chakwera coming back to Parliament to clarify those issues and to indeed say that 2% of the content of the State of the Nation address should be taken out of the Hansard, because indeed those projects could be categorized as lies. So these are some of the things which are making Malawians to really feel that there is a disconnect between government administration and the wishes and the interest of Malawi. And it is also interesting to note that the price of, the availability of fuel has been an issue. A couple of weeks ago, Malawians have had to struggle on long fuel queues, and that is actually a compounding effect coming towards that very crucial election on 16 September. And a number of Malawians, actually, there are polls which are suggesting that President Peter Mutharika, the former president, may actually bounce back to power. The Afro Barometer, a Pan-African post, actually has suggested that President Peter Mutharika may actually win the 16 September elections.
I'm actually glad you said this, because I was actually about to ask, how you would rate democracies in Africa, talking about Pan-Africans. But then, due to time constraints, this is where we would actually have to wrap up this interview. But thank you so much for speaking to us and for your time.